So how did you feel faced with the prospect of volunteering? Were you nervous, excited? What?
I was excited to start volunteering. I thought that it would be a very positive experience, and I was excited to meet the kids and to start interacting. I was a little bit nervous at first, especially for the first time that we went to volunteer, because it's a new environment, it's a new responsibility. You have to learn what you need to do. But ultimately, I was excited to start volunteering.
Can you see social injustices in the lives of the clients you worked with? Explain.
I think so. The way that it was explained to us at PCP was that most of the children were from immigrant families, so their parents didn't necessarily know the French language or weren't maybe able to help them with their homework. That's why they came there. So I guess I could see a little bit of social injustice in their lives based on the fact that they would have to come to a place like PCP, whereas we as second, third, fourth generation Canadians are able to have our parents help us or are able to have our schools help us. So I guess that there was a little bit of social injustice there based on their social identities.
What do you feel is your biggest responsibility as a volunteer?
I think as a volunteer, especially where we're at, which is PCP, and working with children, you really have to make sure that you're a positive role model, which I feel like we accomplished, or I accomplished. I felt like I had to adjust the way that I would speak. Like I wouldn't speak to the kids there the way that I speak with my friends or with my family. You have to adjust the way that you're going to talk to young children, and so that it's appropriate to talk to children and the conversations that you have. So ultimately, it was important to establish a good relationship with them and be a good role model.
Do you think it's important for young people to take the time to volunteer, and why?
I think it is an important thing for young people these days to start volunteering. People tend to be lazy and they don't really want to be involved in their society and in their community. It's important because going forward, we're going to be the new generation that will be running things, and we need to be able to work with people and be able to develop the emotions and the personality traits of selflessness and caring and empathy and sympathy, and we need to be able to work with people and not necessarily get paid for it and be able to be excited and happy for it. So I think it's very important for young people to start volunteering from a young age.
Has your level of ambivalence changed with regards to the clients that you worked with? How so?
I think so, because in working with the kids, we've worked with them for months now, and we've grown to know them. So on the first day where we might have just said, okay, these are a class full of 20, 25 kids, now we know them by name, we know them by their personalities, so we're less indifferent to how their homework turns out, how their studies turn out, how they are at school, how they're doing on that day, if they're happy. Especially I know I became friends, you could say, with a girl there whose name was Zoa, and I was happy to help her every week and find out how her week had been, and so I was definitely less ambivalent as I began to know the kids on a one-to-one basis.
By volunteering, do you feel you're making a difference in someone's life? Explain.
We are making a difference in the kids' lives because we're there for them when others can't be, when their parents might be working, their teachers can't necessarily help them. So we're not donating our kidneys to them, but we are helping them in a way that does make a difference in their life. We're helping them with their homework, and it's something basic that we can kind of take for granted, but we are helping them in some way, and it does seem to be very much appreciated. And without our help, they would not have the capabilities by themselves to finish their homework, to progress in their studies, and so we are making a difference in their lives.
Would you recommend volunteer work to friends?
I would recommend volunteer work to my friends. I had a very positive experience. I thought it was very rewarding. I learned a lot of things. I felt good at the end of my shifts. I felt like I had contributed and like I had helped people. and I would want to share that feeling with my friends. So I would definitely recommend volunteering to my friends.
How can you relate to the clients you worked with? Did you feel more sympathy or empathy towards them?
Well, obviously we come from different backgrounds. I can say that I'm fortunate enough to have parents who can be there for me after school when I need help with my homework. I have resources here at school where I can take extra help classes, or I can work with a tutor if I'm having trouble with my homework. So obviously I feel like I'm very, very fortunate to have the resources that I do in my life, and these kids don't necessarily have them. So I can't really relate then to their situation, but I can feel sympathy for them because they don't necessarily have the resources that I do, and I can still apply that sympathy to the reason why I'm volunteering, which is to help them.
Did you feel like you belonged at your placement? Were you accepted?
I think so. As I said earlier, I developed some friendships with some of the kids that were there. So when I would come in for my sessions, my volunteer hours, I felt like I was welcomed by the kids. They knew who I was, they were happy to see me, they wanted me to help them with their homework. So I always felt welcome there.
Do you plan on volunteering again in the future?
Yes, I definitely plan on volunteering in the future. I had a very positive experience at PCP, so I would consider volunteering there in the future, or I would try different places to see where my help is more needed, or where I could do the best job that I could. So I definitely think that I will be volunteering in the future.
Thank you, Jamie.
Thank you, Natasha.